how is a captain set up, and how many guys do they typically have under them?
Well, a captain is, first of all, captain's placed in a position, and he could have a lot more than 10 guys. I believe that Dom Trasulo's crew, which was the Manhattan crew, had some at one time. Dom himself had told me he had 30 something guys. So that's not. He didn't at the time that he told me, but he said at one time he had over 30 guys. So it doesn't matter how many or how little you have. Sometimes they could have a captain with no guys.
Oh wow.
And the reason being is if they want to bump somebody up and put him in a position, he cannot go from soldier to, let's just say, underboss. He would have to go from soldier to captain to underboss. So they would make him a captain with no men. That's how they would phrase it. And Matty Madonna was one of those guys. He was a captain with no men.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not okay. It's a hard and fast structure.
He was a captain with no men before he became acting boss.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So next question that GR had was, when you were Shylocking money, what kind of loans did you offer? Knockdown loans, juice loans, and how many points did he lend for? I can't know what
I mean, look, a knockdown loan, no one offers a knockdown loan. A knockdown loan usually comes for two reasons. One, when a guy just can't pay anymore and is running into trouble, or maybe somebody comes and speaks for that guy and says, can you do me a favor? Can you do a knockdown? And that means that the VIG becomes off the interest. The VIG comes off of the interest, whereas before the VIG has nothing to do with the not the interest. I'm sorry, the principal. The VIG does not come off the principal, right? No matter how much VIG you collect, the principal stays the same. But on a knockdown, the VIG now comes off of the principal and knocks down the principal. But no, that knockdowns were never offered, and it varied. It depended upon who was being lent the money, and how much it was for, and whether it was for 3 points. I was always told to stay in that range or below it, where you don't hurt a guy. There was some people, they'll charge you 4 or 5 points.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Interesting. And obviously that was one of your main money makers. Okay, we're gonna flip the script a little bit. So we're working on Zoom. So I'm gonna share the screen, and John's looking at it from his screen. Okay. And this is as real as it gets, guys. He's gonna give us the breakdown of the Lucchese La Cosa Nostra chart for 2018, right after he defected. And obviously, John, we're going to deep dive in a second, but what's your first reaction to this chart?
The chart's wrong.
Oh.
Yep. The chart's wrong. This may say 2018, but this is wrong.
How so?
Well, there's certain, I can tell you right now. First of all, on the top of the chart is Vic, so that's correct. And the whole bottom of Vic is the administration. Administration on this chart of 2018 is wrong. These guys were all, with the exception when I was around of Stevie, definitely, he might have been away in 2018, but Stevie was the only guy that was still part of the administration when I was around. Matty and Joe DiNapoli were incarcerated, and their positions were filled, because now the acting boss was Mikey DeSantis, and there was no at that point there was no consigliere. So and then on the bottom here, going into the Jersey faction, you had Ralphie Perna was no longer a captain. He was knocked down to a soldier. And going across, you had Little Joey wasn't a captain. He
Interesting.
was in our crew. Little Joey was a soldier in our crew. And next to Joey is Tino. Tino was acting for Dom. And I don't see Dom on this chart. I don't even see.
Tom
Yeah, I don't see,
Trujillo, right?
yeah, I don't see Dom.
Interesting.
Well, because they have Carmine as Manhattan and Long Island. That's the Dom was Manhattan.
Interesting.
And then also down on the bottom where it says Jersey Bronx faction, um, the Joe Perna was with us in Staten Island. That was the Brooklyn faction.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then John, and then Nicky Jr. was with you guys too? No. With your crew?
Yes, but he wasn't. He was already incarcerated when I was around.
Interesting. So I'm just looking at this list, and this is from 18, and you're not even on it. Like generally, even if somebody defects, if they're recent, like this is not a perfect science, obviously, but they're on it. I don't even see you on it. So
Well, take a look at who got straightened out with me, Anthony Guzzo, right?
yeah,
Where do you see his name on this list?
he's not on here.
He's not on there. And let me look for Patty. And Patty was with us that day. I forget Patty's last name, but Patty's not on this list either.
Interesting. So just like any other intelligence gathering, obviously, there's probably informants and that kind
Also,
yeah. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. On
Okay.
the very bottom of the list, in the picture section, he's under Joe Caridi. Anthony Grado is shelved. He wouldn't be on this list.
Interesting. Why did he get shelved?
He got shelved for drug using and drug selling.
Interesting. So what I wanted to get at is this is wildly inaccurate, which I'm shocked that this day and age with informants, government surveillance, that kind of stuff, right? So my question to you is, did your crew or do they ever give disinformation to like the feds? Do they give disinformation to throw people off? Maybe when you guys are made, like, I just want to understand why there's such a major disconnect on this in like 2020 or 21 rather, when I'm just shocked that it's that wrong. It kind of implies that your Borgata may be a little strong.